Alright everyone, we return once more with some more of When They Cry. When we last left off, we kind of stopped at a certain disturbing point with the face of our lovely cousin Maria, who, in my opinion, is possessed by Beatrice, because there's no other way she would look like that unless that 9-year-old has been fooling us this whole time. And if she has, I'm gonna be extremely upset, because that means she was such a great actress this whole time. Moving on. We're gonna continue on from there, guys, and we'll find out the rest from there. So if anything else, thank you all for watching. Let's get right back into it. Alright guys, we're back again, and I don't like that face and that laugh.
全然違うよみんなこんなの見てわかんないかな
If you tell me Maria was the one that killed everyone, or at least the parents, that's gonna suck so much, because I actually like Maria. I thought she would be just like this nice innocent girl that just happened to be a little naive and a little off, but nothing like this. I'm hoping she's possessed by Beatrice. It's the lesser of two evils, in my opinion. While everyone was scared out of their wits, Maria alone kept on cackling happily. After a while, that laugh suddenly and abruptly cut off, but her expression was still like someone completely different from Maria.
これは太陽の7の魔法陣だよ。書かれてる文字はヘブライ語。貸して。
Maria stole the writing materials from the stunned Hideyoshi's hand. She then started drawing another magic circle, effortlessly, right next to the one that Hideyoshi had drawn.
ね、こんな図形だったんじゃないかな。
そんな図形だった。
マリア、すごいな。さすが詳しいぜ。
Jessica tried to smooth things over by praising Maria. Maybe she wanted to make sure that this was still Maria, who everyone knew so well. But Maria didn't give her any particular response. Maria started fluently writing unfamiliar characters in the corners of the shape. At this sight, the eyes of Uncle Hideyoshi and Dr. Nanjo instantly began to widen.
天地と左右に書かれているのは風化水道を司る天使たちの名。カサン、アレル、タリアハド、そしてフォルラク。そして斜め四方には4代の統治者たちの名。アリエル、セラフ、タルシス、ケルブ。合ってる？
Even if you are unable to correctly write what you've seen, if you are once again shown something identical, it isn't difficult to state that the two are the same. Asked by Maria whether they matched, Uncle Hideyoshi and Dr. Nanjo nodded over and over again.
間違いない。そうや。確かにこんな文字が書かれとった。なんでこんなん書けるんや。あと、演習部にも文字が書かれておりましたな。
わかってるよ。こうでしょ？
Maria began jotting down Hebrew all around the circumference.
旧約聖書の詩編第116編の16節と17節だよ。聖書くらい読んでなきゃ。
Alright, I'm banking she's possessed. That's my theory. Because a part of me doesn't want to believe this is actually Maria's personality, because that would break me. She was just an adorable little girl to me, and now here she is, just... Acting as though knowing this was the only common sense, Maria laughed. For a while, everyone, including me, was at a loss for words. After some moments, George Anaki returned to his senses and slowly managed to speak.
すごいね。驚いたよ。それで、この魔法陣にはどんな意味があるんだい？
Why is everyone questioning her knowledge in the magic circle and not her behavior right now? It's erratic. It's different from how she normally reacts. And like, I'm sure they're surprised, but I don't understand why that's not the first thing on the forefront of their minds right now. They're too focused on what she's drawing. I get the sigils are important, but her behavior is like at the front most, like that stands out the most to me.
太 王の力を借りる魔法陣だよ。黄金で描き、護符にして身につけたる者はいかなる牢獄であろうとも、束縛から逃れ、自由を得られる力を授けられる。
束縛から逃れ、自由を得られる。意味深だぜ。
この束縛という意味は何も肉体的なものだけを指さないと解釈されている。だから縛られて牢屋にいる人ばかりに意味があるわけじゃないよ。しがらみや逃れ得ぬ運命など、精神的な束縛からの解放も意味してるんだよ。
しがらみや逃れ得ぬ運命。これまた意味深だな。
しかしさっぱりわからん。それとあの6人の遺体とどんな関係があるっちゅうんや。束縛からの解放どころか、殺された上に倉庫に閉じ込められてたんやで。
別にその6人のために魔法陣が描かれてるわけじゃないね。魔法陣のために6人はそこにいるんでしょう。お気の毒だよ。
どういう意味だい？魔法陣のために6人がいるってのは一体。
Maria lifted up her index finger and waggled it as if it were making fun of us.
それは演習部に書いてるよ。読めないかな？詩編第116編16節と17節。読んであげるよ。主は私の枷を解かれました。私はあなたに感謝の生贄を捧げ、主の皆を呼ぶでしょう。ね？
ねって何を言ってるのかさっぱりだぜ。
生贄だってのか。
If the part that Maria had just read aloud was the vital part of the magic circle, then it was saying that the benefit of this magic circle required sacrifices to be offered in exchange. So inside the storehouse where the magic circle had been drawn, the sacrifices had been offered. It looked like everyone else had slowly arrived at the same conclusion. Some were shocked, others spat out they're insane as they punched their knees. This was starting to become a seriously disturbing story, and we couldn't accept it nor understand it. I don't care what kind of magic circles or curses other people believe in. That's their right, and I won't pick a fight with them. But did they really kill Dad and the rest as sacrifices for some bullshit like that? I just couldn't stand that feeling. I'd rather still be disgusted over all the talk around the inheritance. As I started getting pissed off at the feeling between anger and sadness, I broke from the circle everyone was in and returned once again to the window. Something had gone insane since yesterday. Ah, yeah, Maria, why are you walking to the window? You should be walking to the little girl and watching her very closely. That letter from the witch Beatrice that Maria had read aloud at last night's dinner. I feel like ever since that point, this whole mansion and this whole island have begun to be drawn into some kind of peculiar world. That's right. When I think back on it, that letter was an invitation from the witch. The ruler of the nighttime island had invited us inhabitants of the day into another world. With the phone and the radio interrupted and the island shut off by the typhoon, you can now call it another world cut off from the real one. Yes, on this island right now, it is perfectly normal for witches to send letters and for sacrifices to be offered to magic circles. So what will happen next? Will some weird people wearing goat masks start doing the Bond Festival dance or something? Ah, it's no good. It's no good. I don't get it. The inside of my head is all screwed up and I don't even know what to think. Anger? Sadness? The opposing emotions all swirled up together and they started to suck me in. Unable to resist, I could do nothing but cover my eyes with my hands and entrust my mind and body to the spiral, swallowing me. As I started losing heart, I began to recall a distant memory. It was from when I was very young. I had unfortunately seen a scary occult movie on TV, and for a while, I hadn't even been able to go to the bathroom by myself. That old bastard had given an exaggerated laugh and said this.
なあバトラ、どうして悪魔だのオカルトだのってのをわざわざこうして映画にすると思う？ねえからだよ。そんな滑稽なもんは地球のどこにもねえのさ。 ねえからわざわざ見たくて作るんだよ。だから俺はオカルト映画なんて、ちゃんちゃらおかしくて笑っちまうってんだ。俺に言わせりゃ、悪魔やら妖怪やらより、今年度の収支報告や、機嫌を悪くした女房の方が、1億倍も怖えってもんだぜ。
That's his horror movie right there. Financial disaster and angry wives.
さらに言うぜ。俺に言わせりゃな。怖がるってのは、心と生活にゆとりのある連中の娯楽的感情なのさ。暇でしょうがないから。連中は変わった感情で心を遊ばせたくて、悪魔だの、オカルトだのって文化を作り出したんだよ。
Seriously, why have I been acting so damn thick-headed? I was totally taken in. To hell with that. This is the human world. As if I give a crap about witches, demons, magic circles, and sacrifices. The human who killed Dad and everyone else is still on this island. That's all there is, right? Next to start speaking to my heart was Kirei-san.
チェスや将棋ってね、終盤の終盤、詰めの最後の段階に入れば入るほど、最善手は限られてくるのよ。だから、自分が追い詰めている。
You know, it's ironic that he's having these memories of his parents and of his father and Kirei telling him or helping him about what's going on, especially the father telling him how demons and monsters don't exist. And yet there's that, you know, and yet here they are talking to him. Like, in my opinion, I think it's them visiting in quote-unquote spirit, you know, just to kind of aid him. They can't do much else. So that's what I think. It's just funny when you think back on it. Maybe it is just a distant memory that just so happened to resurface.
あるいは追い詰められているというその時、両者の手は限りなく読みやすくなるのよ。つまり、完全に追い詰められて、打つ手なしって思ったその時こそ、最も読みやすい瞬間なのよ。でも、守勢に立った人間は、どうしても考えが固くなって、相手の手を読むことにまで考えが至らない。そういう時はね、チェス盤をひっくり返すの。
With all my strength, I slapped my face with both hands. Now, my eyes were truly open. You know, the only other character I remember doing that, slapping his face with both hands, was, I'm already forgetting the main character's name, but, from... Oh my gosh. What was the name of that game for, the... Ace Attorney, there you go, the Great Ace Attorney. When you don't understand anything and you're completely cornered just like I am now, isn't that the perfect time to flip over the chessboard? With us put on the defensive, we couldn't even guess at the culprit's scheme. If you flipped it over and looked at it the other way, just how far could you see? First off, at the time the murders were committed by the culprit, they knew that the island was cut off by the typhoon. So, they should have understood that even if they carried out the murders, they wouldn't be able to get away until the next morning. In short, the culprit had begun without securing a way to escape. Furthermore, the bastard had even tossed the corpse in the storehouse, while doing the courtesy of telling us they're here with that weird graffiti. In other words, since we would probably find the corpses sooner or later, they wanted to show us them. If we had all been dim, and hadn't noticed the storage shed, perhaps the culprit's goal would not have been achieved. If you think about it this way, that murdering maniac, since this morning, he must have been watching our every move with bated breath. After all, if he hadn't been so kind as to discover what was on the storehouse, all of that hard work and preparation that they had done last night would have just gone poof. What did the culprit want to make us feel by showing us the corpses in the storehouse? All 6 of the bodies had had their faces noticeably destroyed. A grudge? A warning? The defacement of the bodies had occurred after death. So it hadn't been the means by which the culprit had murdered. It hadn't been anything to those who had been killed. It had meaning to those who discovered it. The culprit wanted to show them to us. Look how brutally I killed them. Ha! After thinking this way, I really want to tell that asshole to stop taking me so lightly. Who would dance to that tune if I'm told please be scared? I'm not just gonna say really, sure thing. When someone tells the great Ushiromiya battler entrance this way, I'm the kind of guy who'll start wanting to sneak into the window. The next thing that had me concerned was the attempt at a magic circle on the shutter. It was a genuine magic circle declared authentic by even Maria, who had demonstrated that her knowledge of the occult rivaled grandfather's. They must have drawn that thing in pitch black darkness while holding an umbrella in one hand. And it must have taken them a lot of time. That's a formidable amount of hard work and attention to detail. What purpose would have been worth all of that effort? There's something related to the occult happening in this mansion. Most likely, we would all automatically suspect the involvement of grandfather. Did they want to make us think grandfather was involved? But if that was all they wanted, they could have just drawn any old scribble that looked like a magic circle. It wasn't like any of us amateurs could tell the difference between genuine and fake. However, this magic circle was genuine, and furthermore, it had even been written in Hebrew. So this magic circle had a message that could only be understood by someone with knowledge of the occult. Messages are a form of communication. You send them and hope for a reaction from the other party. Reaction. For some reason, we couldn't find grandfather now. I don't know how grandfather could have managed to see the magic circle on the shutter. But had he chosen to hide himself from the reaction to that sign, no. Was it a trap to make us suspect grandfather's involvement? You could read it either way. Damn, that's annoying. What kind of reaction was the culprit hoping to get out of us by showing this imitation of the occult? Somehow that felt like the culprit's weak point. A section of Beatrice's letter that Maria had read aloud during last night's dinner sprang back into my mind. The part that said, "I ask that you enjoy your battle of wits." Sounds like fun. This is a battle of wits between us and the witch. Which will be first, us being swallowed up by your occult games? Or me revealing for who you are? There's a whole day until the typhoon passes. Why not enjoy ourselves? I finally noticed that inside of the parlor had gone quiet again. Everyone had sunk into their favorite sofas, some deep in thought, some irritated, some depressed. Is no one going to keep an eye on Maria? The strangest one of the bunch thus far? Maria was once again enjoying the television as if she had never left it. It looked like she found the commercials more fun than the boring program, and she happily yelled ooh ooh and giggled. I stared at each person's appearance in turn. If there isn't a 19th person, the culprit must be in this room. Right now, Aunt Natsuhi was searching the mansion with the servants, though, wasn't she? Then it shouldn't be in this room. In this mansion is what we should say. After all, there was also the possibility that Aunt Natsuhi was behind this, and we still couldn't deny that one of the servants could be the killer. Anyone could be the bad guy. Still, Aunt Natsuhi and the rest sure are slow. Of course, it's not a small mansion, but isn't this taking a little too long just to walk around checking the windows and doors? Just as I thought, Aunt Natsuhi and the rest returned. Not one of them was missing. But our relief was short-lived. Everyone looked at Aunt Natsuhi shocked. The talk I had with Auntie Ava started to creep back into my mind. The possibility that the culprits had enough in numbers. Or weapons to kill all of the 6 at once.
驚かせてしまいましたね。万が一に備えて持ってきたものです。
Because that thing in Aunt Natsuhi's hand was a rifle. At a glance, its silhouette looked a lot like a hunting gun. But it was unusually short and kind of looked like a kid-sized gun. However, it had a thickness to it which revealed that this was definitely not some kid's toy.
それは金蔵さんの銃ですな。
ご存知でしたか？そうです。お父様の古いコレクションの中にあったことを思い出し、探し出してきました。
ひゅー、すっげえ。夏日おばさん、それ本物なんすか？
ええ、本物です。実弾を発砲できますよ。昔お父様は野鳥を追い払うのに使ったりしていました。あら懐かしい。どこから出てきたんやら。私がいくら触らせてって言っても指一本触れさせてくれなかったやつよ。
へえ、じいさまこんなの持ってたんですか。知らなかったですよ。
お父様は昔、西部劇にどっぷり使ってたことがあってね。あの世代はこういうライフル銃が大好きなのよ。
結構年季の入った銃のようですね。でも、こんな短い仕様のは初めて見ました。
I'm still bothered by the fact that they all forgotten about Maria's little strange outburst, but okay, we're just gonna, overlook that for now and just continue on like nothing happened. Alright.
ああ、思い出したわ、その銃。懐かしいな。昔好きやった映画のガンマンが派手にぶっ放しとったやつだわ。お父さんも渋いな。
親方様がだいぶ昔に。ご覧の通り実銃ですので、どうかこの件はご内密にお願いいたします。
手に入れられたばかりの頃は大層気に入られておりまして、撃つより薬莢を出す動作が面白いらしくて、裏の森でいろいろとかっこつけて遊んでおられたもんですよ。
しかし物騒ね。そんなものまで持ち出しちゃうのかしら。
万が一に備えてです。賊はおそらく一人ではないでしょう。しかも主人たちを6人も殺した恐ろしい相手です。私には主人に代わって皆さんを明日まで守る義務がありますので。
As Natsuhi's son said this, she slumped down into one of the sofas and took a deep breath. As well as checking the doors and windows, she had also been trying to find Grandfather. Since Grandfather was not with her, apparently his whereabouts are still unknown.
屋敷内の戸締まりは厳重に確認してきました。ですが、万が一ということもあります。みんな、なるべくここに一緒にいた方がいいでしょう。
そうね。ここに全員が集まって相互監視をしている方が安心だわ。
それはどういう意味ですか、エヴァさん。
別に夏日姉さんの意見に賛成しただけよ。
There was a dangerous atmosphere between the two of them. If you thought about who stood to gain the most from the inheritance problem standpoint, Auntie Ava was the obvious answer. However, there was no proof that Aunt Natsuhi was innocent. No, if you view Beatrice's letter as Grandfather's elaborate prank, and think of this incident as just an extension of that, there was more than enough evidence to doubt even Grandfather. Aunt Natsuhi thought that the criminal was on the outside, but Auntie Ava thought the criminal was on the inside. In short, it was the question of whether or not that 19th person exists. It was the doubt that had been repeated endlessly since last night's dinner, with the letter from the witch who called herself Beatrice. So, was the culprit among us, or not? And did the witch Beatrice exist, or not? If you assume that something as stupid as a witch couldn't exist, it was the same as saying that one of these relatives here who shared a common bloodline was the culprit. If you didn't like that, it would be much more comfortable to simply accept the fairy tale about the witch. Did a witch do it? Draw that weird magic circle and sacrifice those people? If I could only accept that rubbish, I would be able to completely trust everyone in this room. However, damn common sense got in the way. It kept repeating that witches don't exist. In that case, the culprit was among us. In the middle of the seemingly endless rain, none of us could break our silence. Nope, the shatter again. How much time passed now? Well, that's a lot of time. It's 1 o'clock already. Cult. Lunch had ended and the servants had removed the tableware and were now in the kitchen. The wind and rain had neither weakened nor strengthened, and the island remained cut off from the outside world. It seemed that at first Natsuhi had planned not to let anyone set foot outside the room. But when it came time to prepare lunch, she finally realized that this was impossible. However, in order to avoid having anyone alone in the kitchen, she told the 3 servants to go together. Because of that, the servants were the first ones given the right to leave the stuffy parlor, which had been packed with 11 people. Since breakfast had immediately followed that terrible incident, and many of them hadn't eaten much, everyone tore into their lunches in silence.
私が洗いますから、源氏さんとカノン君は少し休んでいてくださいな。
Do not leave the old lady alone.
何か飲みます？
私は結構。カノンは？
僕も結構です。
お二人とも早朝から大変だったでしょう。参ってしまうのも仕方ないことですよ。
The only sound was that of Kumasawa washing the dishes, which resounded throughout the kitchen. Genji and Kanon sat in some of the chairs a short distance away, their eyes slightly closed. Just as Kumasawa had said, those two had probably built up a great deal of fatigue, but that didn't mean they could let it show in front of the relatives. Avoiding that was one of their virtues. After the silence had continued for some time, Kanon opened his mouth and muttered,
シャノン、どうしてあんなひどい死に方を。
死に方のことは忘れなさい。ただ運がなかっただけだ。
そうですね。
Even if it was nothing more than bad luck, that's not something you should or can forget anyway.
ただ運がなかっただけです。
They both fell silent once again. Kanon's expression was filled with grief.
シャノンちゃんが死んじゃったなんて、未だに信じられませんよ。本当にかわいそうに。もう会えないなんて嘘みたいですよ。もう一度、あの子の笑顔が見たかったのに。
Kumasawa spoke with her back facing them. Kumasawa hadn't seen Shannon's corpse, so she had no trouble mentioning Shannon's face. When Kanon heard those words, it reminded him again of how only half of Shannon's face had been left, and his grieving expression twisted even further.
どうしてベアトリーチェ様はシャノンを。生贄が欲しかったなら他にも大勢いただろうに。どうして
ただ運が悪かっただけだ。少しの運がたがえばシャノンの代わりにあそこに横たわっていたのは、あるいは他の誰かだったのかもしれない。全ては運命だ。
源氏様、奥様の部屋の扉に血のような跡がついていたとおっしゃっていましたね。シャッターに書かれていたのと同じもので。
うん、気味の悪い跡だった。まるで血のついた指でドアノブを引き抜こうとするかのような。部屋、扉をかき破ろうとしたのか。そんな気味の悪い跡だった。
ベアトリーチェ様が奥様の部屋を訪れて、そして扉を開こうとしたけれど開けなかったということでしょうか。
Genji thought back to the time he had seen those traces of blood on the door to Natsuhi's room. With the substance sticking to the door around the doorknob and the marks of something scratching against the door, it definitely appeared as though someone had tried to open the door but couldn't.
どうして奥様は生贄を免れたんだ。
No, it was probably the charm Jessica gave her that was protecting her.
もし奥様が選ばれてたなら、シャノンは死ななくて済んだのに。
Wow. Well, you know what? I can't even blame Kanon's train of thought right here because he doesn't really care about the family. He just cares about Shannon and the rest of the other servants, I believe. Oh, maybe everyone except Goda. Just then, a loud, sharp noise resounded from the hall. Both of them turned around, surprised.
面白そうな話じゃねえか。俺も混ぜてくれよ。
Battler was standing in the doorway to the kitchen.
バトル様、これは失礼いたしました。
Genji and Kanonkun stood up, surprised, hastily bowed. But I didn't care about stuff like that. I was more concerned with continuing their discussion.
便所って言って抜けさせてもらったのさ。ずっとあの部屋に閉じ込められてると窒息しちまいそうだったからな。水でも飲ませてもらおうかと思ったら面白そうな話が聞こえてきたんでよ。頭なんか下げなくていいぜ。今の話の続きを聞かせてくれよ。
今のは別に。
ちょいと前から話は聞かせてもらってるんだ。今さら隠すなよ。だからベアトリーチェってのは何者だ。どうやらおとぎ話の魔女ってだけじゃなさそうだな。
Kanonkun averted his gaze. It was obvious that he didn't want to talk about this, which only made me want to ask even more. While making an effort to smile, I grabbed the collar of his shirt.
昨べまでなら俺は無関係さ。だがな、今朝からは違う。親父たちを殺された時点で、俺は立派な関係者だ。俺にも、そのうさんくさそうな話を聞かせてもらう資格があるはずだぜ。
I glared into Kanonkun's eyes as he still continued to look away in apparent pain. Since there was a big difference in our heights, Kanonkun had to stand on his toes and it looked like it hurt a bit.
バトラさん、手を離してやってくださいな。別にカノンさんは隠しているわけではないのです。
じゃあ話してくれたっていいじゃねえか。仲間外れたら寂しいぜ。
When I tried to further twist up his collar, Genji-san cut between us and spoke. There was a slight sense of resignation on his face. It looked like he didn't plan on hiding anything.
お話しすることはできます。
Finally, thank you. Someone share. So if anything, guys, I'm gonna have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we'll finally get the full story, or at least parts of it, and learn a little bit about Beatrice finally. So if anything else, thank you again. Thank you all for the love and support. And until the next one.